She didn't, he insisted. Nor had the others in the case. They were born Aboriginal. Born Aboriginal. Yet Eatock herself had talked about not identifying as Aboriginal until after her teenage years.
John Laws was on the radio, and he said something that was really, really racist. And she picked it up and added to it. And I said, hey, you can't say that. I'm Aboriginal, you know. And this was the first time I'd made a statement about, you know, I'm Aboriginal, you know. Mm-hmm. And up until that point in time, you know, it was a part of me, but it was down.
Yeah. But this judgment against me was momentous, the whole proceedings, because since there are very few journalists, almost none at all, seeing what has happened to me, have dared to question the white Aborigines now increasingly found in politics and universities, even ones with not one known Aboriginal ancestor, according to a review of their genealogical records, like Professor Bruce Pascoe, like Professor Kerry Doyle, like South Australian Attorney General Kaya Maher and many others I've since named. And it's no wonder journalists don't dare go where I went, because who wants the risk being damned as a Nazi and a racist? Certainly not the barrister who ran a newspaper at the time. I've often blamed myself for not pushing him even harder to challenge Eatock's story, because his cross-examination of her ended where it should have started. Let me read it out to you. My barrister asks Eatock, some of your relatives do not identify themselves as Aboriginal, as you do. Eatock, that's right. My barrister, they've made different decisions about their Aboriginal identity. And Eatock says, that's right. And my barrister then says, nothing further, and sits down. And now I've learned why it's no surprise that most of Eatock's relatives do disagree with her, and did. Last month I did what I didn't realise was possible 13 years ago. You can blame me. I asked professional genealogists of Roger Carter's brilliant darkemuexposed.org website to check Eatock's family tree. The results should embarrass everyone who used Eatock's story to censor the debate on people choosing to identify as Aboriginal. Now, I should first add a disclaimer here. Maybe those genealogists made mistakes, although I've got to say Carter's website has now uncovered many people, including Bruce Pascoe, who wrongly claimed to be Aboriginal. It's not been faulted once. And, you know, maybe Eatock herself honestly believed some old family gossip that she perhaps then spun into proof that she was Aboriginal, may have genuinely believed, I don't know. But here is what those genealogists found, which you can now read in massive detail over the next 3 days on the darkemuexposed.org website. Every one of those Eatock claims that I've quoted earlier on are false according to the available records. Now, of course, Eatock is now dead, can't respond, but not one of her ancestors was Aboriginal. Her grandmother Lucy wasn't born in an Aboriginal birthing place in Carnarvon Gorge, but at her parents' home in Springsure, 180 kilometres away, according to her birth certificate. That certificate also shows that Lucy's mother wasn't an Aboriginal woman called Kitty, but a Scottish woman called Jane, who was attended at the birth by a doctor and a midwife. Lucy also didn't look Aboriginal. She looked like a carbon copy of a Scottish mum. Nor are there any records of this Kiri tribe she apparently belonged to. None. Nor any record of an Aboriginal girl called Kitty, who seems to be an invention inspired by a Tongan girl called Lizzie or Takrao, who was taken in by Lucy's parents for a few years after Lucy's birth. Nor was Eatock's grandfather Bill an Aborigine. Eatock made a false conclusion simply from the colour of his skin. In fact, the genealogist found a missing birth certificate showing that Bill's father was Richard Rose, who came from St Vincent and the Grenadines in the West Indies, and had a brief affair here with a married white woman. Now, this Richard Rose turned out to be the son of a British slave owner and an African. He inherited money when his father died and sailed to Australia to become Eatock's Aboriginal ancestor, Pat Eatock's father. When I say Aboriginal, try African American or West Indian American, black. So the conclusion is Eatock's genealogy shows she should never have been allowed to bring her case against me. If this genealogy is correct, she had no legal standing in the case since she wasn't Aboriginal. And I was right, more right than I knew then, to say she had just chosen to be Aboriginal.